Hello, beautiful souls. Victoria Amador here from Soul Healing Tribe. And today I want to talk to you about the four B core wounds, soul wounds that may be keeping us not really getting to the point where we want to be. And this happens unconsciously, subconsciously. So sometimes we are blindsided because we cannot even see that this is a problem. So we're going to raise some awareness so that we can know what we need to look out for, so that we can identify if we have any of these wounds. And the first one that I want to start with is the resistance behaviors. This is the way that we say no to life. So imagine that a specific trauma happened in childhood or past lives or inside your mother's belly that may have created core wounds dealing with being resistant to life, meaning that a part of you didn't want to be here, basically. And how does this show up is by having a specific beliefs and behaviors. So for the sake of this presentation, this is from one of the webinars that I just did. So I wanted to bring it to YouTube and share this resource with you. So these are the behaviors, and how they show up is through all of these things, like the suicidal ideations, the attempts, the rebellious attitude, really struggling with hardships, feeling like you're never going to get out of that hardship, like it's always going to be hard. Perhaps even self-sabotaging things that you do, patterns, feeling like you are truly not able to experience new things. Like there is a lot of burden here with this resistance behavior. Keeping yourself isolated, keeping yourself removed, separate from others, either family members and friends and community and the collective and so on, because it's too much to be within, or it is just easier to be separate in order for you to protect what really is happening within yourself. There is also a lot of feelings of, these people are just very, very stubborn sometimes. So they do have key characteristics that shows up in ways that keeps you from really being open to experiencing life, experiencing change, being open to opportunities, being open to taking some risk, smart risk, and experiences that will make your soul feel alive. So again, this is quite interesting, because sometimes this is what it is called the resistant behavior in general, right? But when you really start looking into the passive expressions of the resistance, it may be feeling stuck, feeling overwhelmed, feeling lonely, feeling isolated, all of the things that we mentioned, but also feeling anxiety about the past or the future, always in the past or the future, feeling like you cannot be present in the moment because a part of you is stuck in the past and another one is looking into the future, hoping to recreate what happened in the past, but you cannot because you haven't dealt with it. So you're always in this constant fear of what's going to happen in the future. So being present is not an option for these people that have the passive expressions of resistance to life. And again, impatience. I want everything and I want it now, because if I have it now, hopefully I'm going to feel better. So, or let someone please rescue me. Someone needs to rescue me because there is no way I'm going to be able to do this by myself. This may show up in small ways, like at work. I need someone to do this because there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. Or with family, I need so-and-so to do X, Y, and Z because I know the type of person that handles that. So a part of you feeling like it needs to be rescued is another way that this resistance can show up in our life. And then the other ways that it can also show up, and there are many others, but the other ways that this can also show up is with excessive busyness and having to control what you feel by having some type of substance or whatever type of addictions, whether it is sexual addiction, food, alcohol, drugs, etc. So these people try to really keep themselves busy because it's too painful to be quiet. It's too painful to be present with what we're feeling, how we're feeling, the things that it's almost like the shadows take over when we are alone. So then, therefore, I have to keep myself busy so that those shadows cannot haunt me. So it's a way to escape from the reality. Sometimes this may even show up in excessive daydreaming and excessive sleeping. So you definitely want to take a look at those things, because if the avoidance behaviors is just basically letting us know we have trauma here, something happened in the past, and we need to work through this, because a part of you is stuck somewhere throughout time and space, or in this life, or inside your mother's belly, and is feeling like, I want to go back to the spirit realm. I cannot be here. I don't belong here. So you may even have feelings of being homesick for a place that you don't even know, or feeling like it's easier to dive deep into some spiritual concepts because at least I don't have to deal with this reality. Now, the other ways that this shows up, and these passive expressions, with being resistant to life, when we are really avoiding certain things, it shows up in a way that is sometimes very aggressive, or passive aggressive might be the best way to put it. So a little bit of anger, a little bit of things that are said, but what you really mean is even more than that. But you may say as a joke, but what you really want to be able to do is explode on someone. So that may be part of this resistance to life, feeling stuck, feeling abandoned, feeling rejected somewhere in childhood, or inside your mother's belly, or in a past life, or in another reality. How those successful people may even experience this after even going through some type of healing journey is by feelings of procrastination and perfectionism. Procrastination just means the person wants to be able to do it and do it well, right? Or if I do it and I don't do it well, I'm going to fail. So there is a lot of issues here with having to be perfect in order not to be abandoned or rejected. And the disconnection and the numbness that comes, the dissociation that comes with this passive expression is really, it can create some issues because the person isn't even aware that they have these issues. So they might be in denial that there is healing to be done. And another way that this shows up as well is, you know what? I need someone to pick for me because I don't even know what is the best thing for me right now. So I need someone to make the decisions that I need to make. So that way I don't even have to be responsible for that. And sometimes it's a lot of responsibility over taking over the responsibilities of others on yourself, because that way you do things and you're going to do them, but you're going to resent them later. So it can either be on the opposite end of that. There is no middle ground here with this issue, with this soul wound. It's either black or white. It cannot be gray, it cannot be blue, it cannot be yellow. It's either black and white, or good or bad. And these people also deal with a lot of injustice issue, feeling like this place isn't safe, feeling like there is something wrong with the way things are done here. Even having authority issues with police officers, government, city officials, right? The government, doctors, parents, grandparents, or someone that is on a position where they can dictate something and you might have to listen, and then you're going to do it, but you're going to do it and let them know that you are really angry about it. Or keep it quiet, repress it, eventually coming out and exploding on somebody else that will not run away from you. So this grudging compliance also comes in the way of, it reminds me of the wolf, because it's like, I'm the alpha and I'm the only alpha in the family or the tribe or the community or the work or in a meeting, committee, or whatever it may be. So there is a lot of false arrogance. And I mean, false pride, no arrogance. The arrogance is obvious, but the false pride is not pride that comes with recognition of the self for accomplishing things that you deserve, that you have worked hard on. This pride is like, I need a mask in order for me to protect myself, because otherwise people are going to see that I feel inferior and less than. So beautiful work to be done here with this resistance to life, because when we start healing, oh, and another one that I definitely do not want to forget is the feeling lost and confused. This is one that I can definitely identify with tremendously. And the feeling lost and confused is because sometimes we leave parts of our soul in an experience that was constantly happening, repeating over and over, to the point that we might even feel not only feeling lost and confused, but powerless, helpless, hopeless, and everything else in between. So this is heavy duty stuff, I'm not gonna lie. So when we start healing the resistance to life, we're going to be able to experience life in openness, to experience everything that this planet and everything that the collective has to offer us. And even when things don't go our way, we can find ways to pick up the learning experience from it. So everything is not as harsh, so that we don't attack and we don't judge immediately. We can be more open to, like, wow, to see the wounds of the other people. Because in order for someone to hurt somebody else, they have to have a lot of wounds. They have to have a lot of pain that they're carrying. So when we start healing this resistance to life, and you start going through where you left pieces of your soul, and you start rescuing those pieces of your soul, and you start that healing process, what's going to happen is that you're going to feel like you have new lenses to see life through, because it's going to be beautiful beyond belief. Now, I'm going to quickly move on to the powerlessness, because I do have limited time, but the powerlessness, this is a soul core wound where in a past experience, in this life, in other past lives, and in the womb, there was a lot of feelings of, there is nothing that I can do, and I don't deserve. So there is a lot of shame that comes with, I almost feel like a little baby hiding, making themselves small because it's too painful to be out in the open. So a lot of anger and rage that then becomes self-hatred, because you shouldn't. There is a part of you that knows that you shouldn't be carrying with those things, but there is another part that feels all of those emotions. So it's such a heavy sense of shame and despair and hopelessness that it's just, wow, tapping into that energy is like, ooh, I just feel someone wanting to escape, wanting to hide. So if you experience any of these things, whether it is through self-sabotaging behavior, destructive behaviors like addictions, always feeling like people are talking about you, you're feeling judged, there is no way I can go on social media because people are going to say a million things about me. Maybe you don't know how to make decisions, you let other people make them for you. So you can see that this crosses over also to the resistance to life, because a lot of them are pretty much intertwined. So when from the powerlessness also come a deeper sense of that, which is the helplessness of, this is wrong. Why did God send me here? I'm angry with God. I'm angry with my parents. I'm angry with the planet. I am angry with the school, with the police. I'm angry with everybody and their mother. So if you have any of these things, ingestions, feeling intimidated by authority issues, having a rebellious personality, entitlement issues, like everybody owes me because I have put up with so much and I have hurt so much compared to others. So you might even have a lot of manipulative tendencies here, and also a lot of resentment and anger and blaming others for how and why you feel, for feeling the feelings of failure. when we start healing these feelings of powerlessness and helplessness, we're going to experience a lot of just really surrender, just really letting go of attachments, of letting go of the pain and suffering so that you can tap into what made my soul want to experience this, what made my parents be X, Y, and Z, or what happened to me in other experiences that led me to X, Y, and Z. So you start being very curious instead of blaming and judging others. And the beauty of it is that when you start healing the pieces of yourself, maybe you suffer physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, spiritual abuse, maybe even neglect in childhood that led to those feelings. I cannot be seen. If I am seen, I get in trouble, I get whipped, or I get, verbally abused. So retreating was the best way, maybe, or no speaking for yourself, because when you did, you got in trouble and got hit. So there's many ways that this can show up. Just pay attention to the key characteristics, the key behaviors, so that you can identify if you have any of those soul core wounds that you need to work through. Now, with the unworthiness, moving on to, this is one that affects a lot of the solar plexus as well, because the shame is an emotion that is heavily tied to the solar plexus. And all the chakras, to be honest, but the sacral and the solar plexus for sure. So when you start living life and you want everything to be perfect, you have those perfectionism tendencies, you're basically covering the part of you. It's almost like a mask to cover the part of you that feels like, if I don't do this perfect, I am not going to be good enough. So ask yourself, what happened in childhood that described this experience? If I don't do things this way, I'm not going to be good enough. If I didn't do the dishes properly, my mom was upset with me, or my father yelled at me, or if I didn't take care of my sister, my brother, or whoever, or the dog. So perfectionism is a problem because it's a mask. It covers the feelings of inferiority, of feeling not good enough. If I'm not good enough, people are going to reject me or abandon me, or see the part of me that is wounded, that is vulnerable. So these people tend to live in the past or the future, so they may experience a lot of anxiety. They definitely have an issue with having lack of clarity of what's the purpose of this all? Why am I even here? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? You might even have issues with being intimate with, not only sexually, but emotionally, with your partners, with family and friends, with your feelings in general, even with yourself. Sometimes it's not even about other people. Sometimes it's so scary to be open with yourself about why you feel, because it's so dense. And there is a fear of, I'm not going to be able to put myself back together. So there is a lot of spiritual struggles here, again, with the feelings of, oh my goodness, God sent me away from the spirit realm and now I'm stuck here. So this comes with a lot of authority issues as well. The shame is just really masking your power. So you might be afraid of your power because of what happened in past lives as well. So it's not just about this life, you also want to consider past lives. And then when we start healing the unworthiness issues, we're going to feel a lot of humility, humbleness, forgiveness for self, and eventually, not immediately, but eventually down the road, forgiveness for others. And you're also going to feel, like the people that are resistant to life, they have issues with commitment issues. So when you start healing all of these things and you get to the point where you can feel like you can commit, that you are living in integrity, because commitment, being afraid of the commitment, it just means that you don't trust yourself, so you don't feel like you have integrity with yourself. So how can you have it with others, right? So when you start healing that, you're going to have forgiveness for yourself, forgiveness for others down the path. I'm not saying immediately. you're going to be able to finish what you start, and you're going to be able to have compassion, like true empathy and compassion with yourself. That's the key, with yourself and then with others. Sometimes it's the other way around because it's easier to offer that to others. But when you start having that compassion for yourself, I want you to consider, when was the last time that you said, this hand, when have you really felt the left and the right hand together and each one of them have recognized each other? And you do this with your eyes closed and you embrace yourself and you feel that embrace. Oh my God, it gives me goosebumps because it's like the most beautiful thing ever. It's almost like the left and the right coming and being one and being like, we're here, we're doing this. But when you get to that point, it is such a beautiful experience because you have been doing a lot of work. You're not just doing it because I'm saying you need to do it. You're doing it because one day you recognize it's been 8 years since I have embraced myself. It's been 8 years since I have connected in these two in balance, in unity. So anyways, there is a lot of sacredness that come with even feeling the wind, hearing the birds, which is why I put this beautiful guy here, and just feeling like you're really connecting with the inner version and the higher versions of who you are at a soul level. So it's a beautiful, beautiful work. For the sake of this conversation, I'm going to leave the disorder identity for another day just because I am running out of time. But I want you to take from this conversation here is that when we start this healing process, we're going to open ourselves to experience people, relationship, places, things in a different way. A mango that you're tasting now, when you really start having this with yourself, it's like you're falling in love with yourself. It's going to taste so different than when you're eating a mango and there is a part of you that is still hiding, that is still afraid, that is in fear, that is wondering what's going to happen to me, that is feeling less than. It's going to be very different than someone that it feels expansive and the energy is just flowing. They're in a flow state. And a mango is more than a mango. It's like I can have an orgasm right now. So it's a very different experience, a different experience. And the enrichments of the connections that you make and the way that you feel about people is at another level. So, sometimes people think, well, why are we always talking about trauma? Because parts of our soul stay trapped in those experiences and we need to rescue those parts. And it's not hard. Like sometimes people think I have to go see a shaman, I have to do medicine, no, it is easier than that. And I'm going to leave this for later because I really have to go. But what I want you to get out of this, you can find this exercise in the blog at Soul Healing Tribe. What I want you to get out of this is that when we have the deep soul wounds, a part of us is still back in the moment of the trauma. And we continuously recreate and reenact, like actors, reenacting those deep, profound experiences in the now. It is happening in the now. Even though it happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, a part of us is still in that loop. So it is happening in the present moment, which is why a lot of the times we cannot be in the present because we're in the past and the future, thinking, oh my God, this is going to happen in the future and I have to react. When something is similar to what happened to me in the past, a part of my brain says, hello, we have an attack, alert. So we immediately start seeing through the lenses of that experience in the past. So I want you to consider, when you're quiet and you're really going to a minute meditation, really connect with your feelings and feel if there's any part of you that feels incomplete and empty, any part of you that feels like something is missing in my life. And if there is, that means that there is a part of your soul trapped in a past experience. Perhaps you're feeling lost and confused, or any of the things that we spoke about, but this is like a cheat sheet. Are there any part of me that feels incomplete, empty, lost, confused, abandoned, gone, missing, looking for something, searching for something? And when you identify that part, basically you're identifying a part of your soul that's split in the moment of the trauma. So in that moment of the trauma where the soul fragmented, maybe because of sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, neglect, and so on, even illnesses and disease, physical pain, what we have, accidents, right? What we have is fragmentation of the soul at a core level. And because of that, we allow parts of our soul to stay trapped in those experiences. And we don't do it consciously, obviously. We didn't have the resources we needed. So we do what we need to do to continue to survive through the experience. So when we become aware, it means that it's time for us to take action. What I want you to consider is that, the healing journey is not an easy thing to go through. It's a journey. It's not a marathon, and it's going to take time. The deeper the trauma, the longer it's going to take. But the thing is that there are solutions to be able to do the work, to be able to experience the release, the healing and alignment that you're seeking, so that you can really start aligning yourself with your inner higher spirit. So I hope that you got something positive, some awareness from this conversation today. And if you want to learn more, you can reach out to me at soulhealingtribe.com. And until then, I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.